I've been saying it and I'm gonna keep saying it. You just gotta let Isagi figure out his mindset, figure out his moveset. There's no denying that probably over half of the players that are currently still active in Blue Log are more talented than Isagi at face value. But I keep saying it, he has the most potential. He has the most growth potential in terms of mastering other people's moves, figuring out his own. And once he really gets deeper into this competition, honestly, Isagi's going to be the one that no one thinks they'll be able to beat. Is he there yet? No, but that's what makes him a rootable character. He has the potential to get there, but he has a long way to go. And if you let the man cook, if you let the man figure out in the moment, as we just saw, you can make the argument, oh, he got the one goal. Was that really enough to say he was a worthwhile team member? We see the potential. We see him in the zone in that moment with my boy Nagi, who hears the exact same phrase that he said to him when they were going up against each other. He goes from worrying that he's about ready to give up to being like, oh, we're actually gonna win this, aren't we? And like, it's just, you can't help but get a kick out of it, man. Do have a full live reaction to today's episode available on my Patreon, so if you do want to see that and all my excitement, do consider supporting. But yeah, this episode, it delivered. A 5-4 victory, which, what I love about Naruhaya and just everything they did with that scene, the average Joe versus average Joe, yes, if we take both of them, both with Isagi and himself, Isagi is a more talented player than Naru. I think that's a pretty agreed upon opinion, is had Baro not missed that shot with, I mean, that goalie, he saved their asses. Like, they almost got eliminated at the end there. Prior to Isagi's whole awakening moment and the average Joe versus average Joe, Baro made a shot that was so clean that he almost won. So in theory, we could have had a scene where it would have been Isagi on the ground and maybe Naru maybe even cheering him up. But I mean, it makes sense that ultimately the more talented team won in terms of two strong players versus an exceptionally strong player and an average Joe. And do I feel bad that he got eliminated? Yeah, I mean, you get the backstory, you see who he's fighting for, and all things considered, on a personal level, I think we all know who Isagi wanted to pick. But on a logical level, he picked the person that will help them progress and succeed deeper and deeper. Though I do have to wonder which direction they're going to go with the king, right? Because the king is a very selfish player, and we saw at multiple points throughout this match, by him just tunnel visioning and thinking he can do it by himself, he was on a team that lost. So if he does that in the next match, we could easily see a situation where the king, Nagi as well as Isagi, they lose their match and the king goes to the next team, and then the next team sees why the king ended up losing, actually. However, if he's not that egotistical and he starts working with his teammates, it's possible the king will be one of their greatest assets. We don't know the direction yet, but it is one of those moments where we don't know how good the teamwork will be. Hell, after the credits there, they're fighting over who gets the bed and who gets the monk bed. Just imagining them hogging the ball. It's going to be absolute chaos. Now, I do want to make a quick mention because I think I've been forgetting it every single week. The new opening, I absolutely love. I keep forgetting to mention it. It's absolute heat, and I love the ending song's visuals. They are so good. They're so detailed. They're so hype. I love it all. I just want to make a quick mention because I keep forgetting, and my apologies. But this episode, it just felt like redemption. Now, I've been an avid Isagi supporter. I've been saying, like, he's human. He feels emotions, both positive and negative, but when he falls on his face, I look at that as a realistic character. If he just started off as the One Punch Man and could just be someone who takes a shot from anywhere and just always is the person who wins, well, I think there's a direction to write that, like in the case of a One Punch Man. That's not what this show's trying to be. We're trying to see different characters with potential, and those with no potential, well, they end up getting eliminated, as we literally just saw, or those with not as much potential, I should say, right? But the fact that Isagi, his spatial awareness, the way he, in the moment, can start figuring things out, the fact that he literally stole someone's talent mid-play, and in return was able to get that clean shot, Isagi is not weak by any means. He's probably closer to the middle in terms of ranking who's the best and who's the worst currently. And yes, sometimes he gets a little more better and then sometimes he ranks a little worse. But all things considered, I don't think there's a player currently in Blue Lock that we've seen anyway who has more growth potential. And I think the idea of using the puzzle animation, the puzzle piece animation, was a brilliant choice because essentially Isagi is the type of guy who constantly rebuilds himself, sometimes thinks that's enough, and then he gets a rude awakening and he ends up losing. So the fact that he constantly is shattering and rebuilding himself every time he rebuilds himself, he gets better. And by the time we get to the end of the Blue Lock experience, he will be a force to be reckoned with. And I think they're doing an amazing job making him feel like a human who crumbles. I mean, literally the end of this episode is a mirror to the beginning of episode 1, where Isagi was just so devastated. And honestly, that's what I love, is that it shows you so many different sides of the human emotions, the trash talking on the field. I mean, Nagi is a savage, man. Even with the whole bunk bed situation, like, if you're looking at these 3 characters, who do you think would win in a fight? You'd probably think King Baro. But that doesn't stop Nagi from saying rock, paper, scissors or get the hell out of here, and I love that. I also thought the additional time, I usually don't talk about additional time in the videos, but there was something about this one that really got a kick out of me. So we have Rio, right, who is basically doing the flower technique with the flower petals of does he love me not, but this time he's doing it with Nagi, will he come back or will he not? And it was a little creepy and disturbing, but I gotta admit, I'm excited for that team dynamic because it looks like it's going to be a hoot to follow. I also thought the general animation around, for like the first 6 minutes or so of this episode, I felt like they went a bit different because it felt to me like Isagi was a little floaty. He was a little distracted. And I kind of felt like the way he was bouncing around and kind of passing the ball or dribbling the ball, it kind of felt to me that the animation was mirroring his thought process. And it felt like everything was a little more floaty, almost like he was about to have an out-of-body experience, and because of that, he might end up letting someone get a goal in. And I thought they just did a great job. I mean, the production value of Blue Lock has been just spot on. It really makes you immersed. I think they have fun with the more like supernatural, here's the characters glowing as if they're going into a fit of rage or excitement. They had the puzzle animation like I mentioned, but just the general movement. I mean, they do such a good job to make it feel like real players. And everything that they end up doing, it feels like a player can actually do that in our own world. It's just they're animating it in a way to make it more exciting and have even more impact than it already would. I still can't get over the fact though that had King Baro actually nailed that last shot of his, Isagi would have been eliminated, because there's no way they would have picked Isagi over Nagi had they had the option, right? So I mean, it was skin of your teeth, man. It was just so close to having our boy moments from him unleashing more potential, showing that he's fit for Blue Lock. He could have been eliminated and felt like he was a complete failure. And that's what makes the parting scenes so good. The only thing I kind of wish is maybe he would have gave him that good luck charm, but I guess it kind of makes sense given that it was given to him by his family and everything. But incredible match. Redemption. This comes from someone who's been hyping up Isagi, praising Isagi this entire time, but this was redemption for not only himself, but also maybe the people thinking he's not worthy of being in the Blue Lock experience. And I love what they did with this episode, and once again, I leave even more excited and eager to see where the next match will take us. But yeah, I'll pass the torch over to you. What did you think of episode 15 of Blue Lock? What did you think of Nagi coming in clutch with those goals after goals, and then Isagi getting that final goal? Let me know what you thought, man, because King Baro, I think he was a little worried from my point of view, being like, oh, he's not going to pick me because he likes this dude better than me. He was having his life flash before his eyes, if you ask me. But thoughts and feelings yourself down below. Leave a like if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new around here, ring that bell if you want to get as many notifications to the channel as possible, and like I mentioned, full live reaction is available on the Patreon. And while you're there, you can also get yourself video shoutout like JJR10, Jordan, and Jornis Pierre are getting today. So I appreciate the support, everyone. Please take care and have a good one.